I'm ready. This is a briefing. This isn't a full live show or anything, but I just have some things on my mind that I need to share with you while I have clarity. And I got home from work. We've been very busy doing some taping and traveling and talking, and something happened to me. I had one of the things that one of the giftings that I have is visions. And now sometimes they're absolutely crystal clear visions that you can almost touch, but most of the time they're not. Most of the time they're just impressions. They're just very strong impressions so strong that I could describe everything, color, detail, and yet I know I'm not actually seeing it in the natural. I'm seeing it with spiritual eyes. So every once in a while that happens to me more and more, because I've learned a very valuable truth. And that truth is this: if you're diligent with something that's put in your hands, it will expand. If you're not diligent, if you don't take attention to it, if you don't strive to learn about it or try to be diligent with it, and I'll explain in many areas, not just the area of dreams or visions or, taking care of your children or whatever that is, but in every area. And there's a diligence that's needed. It's not a perfection, guys. It's not being perfect, but it's being more disciplined and diligent to the extent that you can be. It grows over time. You grow over time. So at first we stumble around. And I just have this feeling that many of us, all of us really to some degree, but some are they're stumbling around trying to figure out, really what is going on, the new era, the new banking, the new this, the new that. I get it. It's okay. That stumbling is actually okay. But don't stay in the stumbling. We want to grow in the stumbling. Now, why am I saying this? Well, I had a very distinct picture of a tool. And the tool kind of looked like a hammer, but it wasn't really a hammer. And to be honest with you, I don't know what tool it was, but it had a handle, like a long handle, like a hammer would, and it had an iron, head on it that you could do something with. I knew this tool was so well built, and it could handle difficult projects. Like it was so steady and so strong. Like you couldn't break this tool. And I started to come to the realization that we, as a community, each one of us, are being given a tool. And over the last few years, sometimes you could hear myself saying money's a tool, or Ben saying money's a tool. But I think it came to my realization that people don't have the full understanding of what that means. To some it means they can buy groceries. To some it means they can help their child, or they can help their cousin, or, they can get a divorce, whatever. And they see their tool in this way. But I want to share with something with you that I really feel you need to hear. And what is that? I can go to the store right now, a Home Depot or whatever hardware you have, and I can buy tools. I can buy the most expensive router. I can buy the most expensive table saw. I can buy the most expensive sander. I can buy the most expensive, awesome tool that has ever been invented. And I know that tool has the ability to make beautiful works of art, beautiful things, whether it's furniture or you can build a house with it. You can, build garage. You can build play centers. You can build schools. You can build universities with it. But a tool is just a tool. I can buy those tools. If I have the money, I can buy those tools and bring them home, put them in my home, admire them, thank God for them. But if I don't learn how to use those tools are absolutely worthless. And eventually those tools will be lost, maybe forgotten, maybe stored away, maybe maybe rotten, maybe stolen, because they have such value. But their real value isn't in what they are. It's in how they are used. Now, why am I saying this? Because money is a tool. And that tool is put in your hands to build something, whatever it might be. It's put in your hands for a destiny, a purpose. And the problem is, most of you can see the tool. You want that tool. You believe that you've been called to carry that tool, but you don't know how to properly, professionally use the tool and keep it well oiled, keep it safe, keep it out of the hands of the wrong people who could murder with it or use the tool for a bad purpose. Any tool, a hammer, can become a tool of death. A saw can become a tool of murder. A chainsaw, something that cuts down trees and wood, can kill somebody. So a tool can be used for good, or it can be used for evil. And what's coming to me is this. It is so important for us, first of all, to have respect for the tool. Not to hide it, but to understand it. To understand, first of all, how it's used wrongly. Understand how it's used wisely. Understand, how you can use it and how to use it properly. And, the more I thought about it, I thought, Lord, some people are more advanced. Everybody's at a different stage. But most people have no idea how to use the tool of great wealth. They have the desire, but there's a difference between desire and knowledge. Desire versus experience. Desire versus vision and boldness and understanding. And along with the tool, listen to me, this is important. Along with the tool that is put in your hand, there is a sacrifice. There is a sacrifice to learn how to use the tool. There is a sacrifice when you do use the tool, because you will be using the tool and you'll have moments of aloneness. You'll have moments of nobody understands what I've gone through to learn how to use this tool or even to obtain the tool. And so your life, your inner life and your outer life will change drastically and fast. And I believe from the bottom of my heart, it has to start changing now. Not when that the fullness of the toolkit is put in your hand. But you need to learn how to use the tools for the money, which is a tool, now. You have to begin now, people. And I think that's what we've been trying to say. Well, I know that's what we've been trying to say, is that you have to increase your knowledge. You know, some knowledge just starts with understanding terminology. What does this mean? What does hedge fund mean? What does stock market mean? What is, what does the crash mean? Where does the crash begin? Where are the stock markets located? What are cryptos? What is the blockchain? Whatever it is, you start at the bottom and you build your knowledge. And that gives you slowly the ability to wield the tool in a way that's productive, in a way that's safe and reliable, and in a way that it will form something lasting and beautiful. Now, with every tool, every craftsman, anyone, for instance, a tool can be an artist's brush or set of brushes. And that artist takes the brushes and takes the water paint or the oil paint and puts it on their palette and creates a lot of beautiful colors. And when that artist or that person starts out, their paintings look not that great. They look amateur. They look, like the person doesn't quite know what they're doing yet. But perseverance and gaining understanding and sitting and watching the pros and talking to people that have been painting for a very long time, watching their style, watching what they do with the paint. They're not going to paint for you, people. You have to do your own painting. You have to pick up the brush. You have to get the canvas. And you have to create your own vision of what you see and your own style, the uniqueness of you. And I believe strongly that each one of us here is unique. You're unique. You think, I talked to Bostock and he's very detailed and he wants to be orderly. That's his uniqueness. Then I talk to someone else and they see everything through codes and decodes and prophetic visions. That's their uniqueness. So your uniqueness, some of you love numbers. Some of you love numbers. I love it. That's your uniqueness. Some of you just couldn't be bothered with numbers, but you just want to see the bottom line. That's who you are. But you need to build your skill bit by bit. It's important to start now. It is so important. You don't have to go to university. First, you have to understand, what is your uniqueness? How do you see the world? Do you see the world as impoverished people who need water, fresh water? Or do you see the world as impoverished people who need food or to learn how to grow food? Or do you see the world as a banker and you need to become a lender to people to build businesses? Some people see the world as I want to be an employer. I had a gentleman I was talking to the other day, and he said, I can do the work I have. He's actually a home renovator. And he said, I have all the tools. It's very profound. He didn't know he was being profound. He said, I have all the tools. I have my truck. I have, I have really high class tools. I can renovate a basement. I can renovate a bathroom. I can build decks. I can, and he does fantastic work. Fantastic, beautiful. And you don't see decks like this. They're like outdoor living spaces. And he said, but honestly, this is what I prefer to do. I want to give jobs to other people. I just want to manage it, and I want to give jobs and the opportunity to make the money. Yes, I can do the jobs and make all the money for myself and my helper. But he said, I could hire 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 people, and I can give them a good living so they can support their family. That's how he sees the world. Not everybody's going to see like that. Other people are going to say, I want to start a business. I want to, go into a community. I want to provide, a product for people, a good product, an honest product. That's how you see the world. So you need to define yourself. How do you see the world? Out of who you are will come a definition that you need to build. Now, that building comes in with, it could be education. Education isn't necessarily going to a school. Education, you're getting educated right now. You can educate yourself on platforms. You can educate yourself on YouTube. You can educate yourself through books and reading articles, like one of the things that I do is I read The Economist. Yes, it's cabal. Gee, let's see what they're saying. I read different things. I try to expand my reading. At first, I didn't understand everything they were saying. But the more I got into it, the more I challenged myself. The more I learned terms and sought to gain understanding. Understanding started to come to me. I broke a barrier within me, a barrier of I don't care or I don't want to, I'm not interested in that. But something broke inside of me so that I can grow in that area to be a tool. And my tool is to help your tool. That might sound crazy, but do you understand? Like, there are things that are coming, and I just feel, some of you might say, I don't know if you're prepared or not, but in my spirit, in my very being, in my logic, understanding, and my knowing, I fear that you are not ready to bear the tool of money that will be placed in your hands. And even if the wealth comes in even if the RV comes in at 5 cents, that 5 cents is going to grow pretty fast. So whether it's 1 day, 1 month, 3 months, or 6 months, that in my books is still sudden wealth. Now, you're going to experience a ton of emotion, and I mean a ton. First of all, you're going to experience extreme joy, and you're going to experience a form of relief. Finally, I can do something. But then I'm going to tell you, you're going to experience other emotions like fear, maybe even unbelief. You're going to wake up the next morning and say, is it still there? Am I still rich? Because it is a new day. It's a new beginning. And if it's any type of new beginning, my son, when he had his son, and he held his son in the hospital, and he looked at his son, the beautiful little baby boy, and he looked at me and he said, "I can't believe I'm a father." And then when his son was like 2 years old and he was watching his son play and, on the floor on the rug in his home with his toys, he looked at me, he goes, "Can you believe I'm a father?" And then when his son got 4 years old, I laughed because he didn't realize he was doing this, but his son got 4 years old and he was running back from nursery. He was all excited to see his father and jumped in his father's arms. And my son looked at me. Sometimes I just can't believe I'm a father. Now, what is that? We do that, people. And you're going to have what I call like wake-up calls. Wake up. It's like you're going to be in the middle of a different type of life and you're perceiving that life in one way, but it's not that way. It's not that way. It's going to be filled with good and bad. It's going to be filled with, let me put it this way. You can take a tool and you can have that tool and everybody can admire that tool. And you're holding that beautiful hammer or whatever it is, and everybody can see it's a golden hammer, and wow, how did you get that tool? That's amazing. But then human nature is, I want that tool. I want the tool that you have, even though I haven't paid the price for it or I haven't paid the cost for it, but I want that tool, or I want part of that tool, or I want what that tool can do. Why do you get that tool? So you're going to deal with jealousy. You're going to deal with people that smile in your face and backstab you. You're going to deal with a lot of desperate people that have needs. And you're going to have to make decisions for their life. Yes, for their life, because you're going to have to learn to say no. But if you know how to properly use the tool, you will be able to integrate into your definition of who you are. You're going to be able to build and integrate something that will benefit the people around you. Right? Not just give them a quick fix, but it will benefit the people around you. And maybe not so much the people around you, but maybe the people abroad or the people over here, or a certain sector of people, a certain nationality, a certain type of people, whatever. Like maybe some of you love the film industry, for instance. Excuse me. And you have a desire to make films, and you're going to surround yourself with the right people and the right skills that you can put your idea into them, and you create beautiful works of truth and joy and maybe teaching, whatever it might be. You have to learn to use the tool. And the tool can give you an ability to surround yourself not with the familiar. Now listen carefully. Not with what is familiar to you. What's familiar to you? Your cousin, your uncle, your neighbor, your friend, your sister, your brother. As human beings, we attach ourselves to what is familiar to us. See, I'm going to tell you a secret. When God opened the door and pushed me towards Ben Wilson, he was not familiar to me. His language, his verbiage, the way he handled business, the way he handled women, the way he handled me, the way he talked, it was not comfortable or familiar to me. And sometimes we're put in a position that is not familiar, but it has the insight, it has the skills, it has the connections or the understanding that you need for the tool that you are carrying. What am I saying? That you need to surround yourself with people who have the skills and the experience, even though it might feel uncomfortable to you. It might feel like it's the opposite direction. You need to surround yourself with the people with the skills and the understanding to help you use the tool wisely. Because even though we increase our knowledge, and we need to increase our knowledge, you will probably not have time to become a Robert Bateman or a Mother Teresa, right? You're not going to have time to come to that level. But you can surround yourself with the right people, not your best friend, guys. Listen to me. You know, it really always bothered me because I used to tell the people that attended my church off sometimes because, and they appreciated it. They told me they really appreciated it. Because I'd be walking down the hallway of the church and someone would come up to me and say something like, you know, my husband came up to me the other day and, you know, he's talking about divorce and I just don't know what to do. And I'm thinking, okay, you just put on my plate one of the most big tragedies of your life, walking down a hallway and blurting it out of your mouth, thinking that I'm going to say some divine revelation about your future. Like, come on, people, get serious. This is something that needs thought, and it needs structure, and it needs a lot of wise counsel and understanding. And like, unfortunately, we don't surround ourselves with wisdom. What we do as human beings, we surround ourselves with who's comfortable to us. And it's like, oh, I've known this person for 15 years and, I'm comfortable. Like, it's comfort. It's not wisdom. And so there's going to be some very difficult choices. And you're going to have some of these people around you are not going to understand the choices you are making. And some of you are going to hate you for it. They're going to hate you. I mean, hate you. I've gone through it, people. Some people are going to backstab you, people that you love. And you're going to have to learn how to hold on to that tool. Continue to move towards the future. Continue to learn how to use that tool, how to have a minimal loss with the tool, because you're going to make errors. When someone's learning to, like a carpenter, I used to own a woodworking shop. Yes, I did. Now, I hired people to do the woodworking, don't worry. But the manager of the shop, he said to me, one rule I've made is always measure twice. Measure the first time, you write it down, and then go back and measure it again before you cut. And then he would take the saw or whatever, put the table saw, and he would make the cut. And even then, every once in a while, he would make a mistake. But he tried to minimize his loss. He checked and checked again, and if he was unsure, he even checked a third time. And he was an amazing employee. Amazing employee. Never met him before. I put out an ad for, I was hiring a manager in my woodworking, and I asked for people to send resumes, and he did not have a resume. He did not have a resume. And he said, and he didn't even know how to pronounce the word. And he phoned me up and he said, I don't have a resume. And I'm like, what's a resume? And then I realized he was saying resume. He said, I don't have a resume, but I have skills and I have a lot, years of experience, and I have good reports. So I said, well, come on in, let me meet you. So he came in and I started to talk to him, and I knew that I could tell he had integrity. I could tell that he had learned the tools, that he had experience, that he understood the commitment, and he understood how to bring it to completion. And I hired him right there on the spot without a resume. And he was so excited, so excited. And he was one of the best employees I had. Now, I'm not promoting no education, but I'm promoting the right people for the right job, the right people to surround yourself with. And I believe as you move forward, if you have the right mindset, you will find the right people. If you have the boldness to say no, if you have the boldness to make a decision and say, this is not the person I need, as much as I love them, as much as I want them to be that person, they're not the person I need. I need somebody with this skill or this knowledge or this amount of time to give to me a week. Because people will want you to center around their time. Their time. That's one thing I did with Ben. I would say, look, Ben, I'm flexible over here, so just call me. I'm going to try my best to focus around your time. You're my boss. And he was polite enough to say, well, sometimes he would make concession for my time because he knew I was working. And that's why oftentimes he didn't want to do a late show, because he knew I'd be up till 11 or 12 or 1 o'clock editing the show. But I didn't mind, honestly. I was ready and willing to go the mile and make the commitment, pay or no pay. Now, you're going to experience different emotions, and we talked about that. Joy. You're going to experience loneliness, confusion. You're going to experience some loss, some sorrow. Yes, you will. Some people that you called friends are going to walk away. I remember Trump. Do you remember Trump saying that, he in one point lost everything to see who really were his friends, who was there just for the money ride, or who were his real friends. And that was, I think, one of the wisest things the guy did. Because everyone will love you if you have money, or if you have affluence, or if you have connections. Everybody loved Benny. But how many people were really on his side? That is the number one question. How many people were there just for what Benny could give them? Or how many people were there with deep concern about about his life, or his future, or his well-being? Now, the other thing you're going to experience is stress. And stress comes with not knowing what choices to make, not knowing if the people you're surrounding yourself with are real, are genuine, are plants, are liars and thieves. That is just part of the journey. And you're going to have to go through it. And you're going to make mistakes. Sometimes you're going to bring a person close to you because you need that support. And that person may sting you. It happened to Benny. It happens to everybody. And you're going to have to get over it and not say, well, I never wish I had any of this or blah, 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 blah. Stop it. Stop it. Act professional. I'm sorry you're going to experience loss. You're going to experience backbiting. You're going to experience hate from people. You're going to experience people that think they know better than you. They don't respect you. They don't, they're going to, we had this all the time where even I worked in a church as an administrator of, it was about 2,000 people in this church. And there's one lady, well, actually it was more than one lady, but there was quite a few different people. But this one lady really stands out because, she just decided that she could do a better job than the pastor, and who's been pastoring all his life, and, that he needed to step aside so that she could step up. And it's just... unfortunately, the police had to take her away, and they did put her into some type of a psych ward. But you're going to come against people that think you have no right, or you are stupid, or you're an easy, easy to deceive, easy to rob from. You're going to have to make some hard choices. And sometimes some of you, I'm going to be honest with you, some of you are too soft. You're too giving. You're too undiscerning, or I don't know what the word is. It's not even those words. You're weak. You're weak in your emotions. And I think that's why we've focused over the last year to get tough. Get tough. Ben would say to me, Carin, you need to be tougher. And I said, to be honest with you, I've been told I'm a pretty tough businesswoman, but do I need to get tougher? Absolutely. Do I need more wisdom? Yes. Do I need more knowledge? Yes. Do I need to understand the tool that I'm about to step in? Yes. Yes, I've had that tool before, and I didn't have a clue what I was doing with the tool. I remember I was making money. I was so busy working and making money, and working 7 days a week, and sometimes all night, and pushing, and I enjoyed it. It wasn't like it was a chore. Your adrenaline is high, and you're feeling the satisfaction of growth in your life, in your business, and respect of some people around you, being able to give jobs to people. And I remember I needed something. It was a piece of clothing, right? And I thought, gee, I need a piece of clothing. And I stopped. And I thought, okay, this is ridiculous. I can just go to the store and buy that piece of clothing. I had so much money. I didn't have to budget. I didn't have to think of the cost. I thought, I can just drive to the store right now and buy that thing I need for a meeting I'm going into. And it was, I hate to tell you, it sounds so stupid, but I lost perspective of life because I got so caught up in the game of building and growing, and the joy of seeing products produce, and customers happy, and the excitement in the air, when contracts are signed, and it's all good stuff, don't get me wrong. But remember, within that, the enemy lurks. The enemy works and it's called, people, jealousy. And you're going to experience people who are jealous of you. They will put you down behind your back, And with that comes the stress and the loneliness and the hurt. Yes, hurt. You're going to say, but I haven't done anything to that person. Oh, yes, you have. What you've done is you've catapulted yourself forward to another level of finances. And some of the people that are around you now cannot come with you. And you got to realize that. They can't come with you. Oh, they could if they would embrace and come in with the right attitude and stand by your side. But most people, they're not going to do that. And so you're going to find yourself shifting into new friendships, into new neighborhoods, into new understanding, because you're going to have to align yourself for your purpose, for your life. And life is going to look different. And if you don't do this, I guarantee you, if you don't learn how to flow with the tool, how to use the tool, how to grow in yourself, you will lose the tool. The tool will either be stolen, or it will be broken, or destroyed. You will lose the tool. It happens every day. So that's what I want to say. And I want to open up the mic if you have anything to say, anything to add that can help people, etc. Bostock.
Karen, man, you're like really speaking into our hearts. I just want to say one thing. It's really more confirmation and affirmation. The tool that you saw in the vision is the tool that God has before you is the tool that helps us to build and use well. We never wield the tool; we use it, and to use it well for the things of His purposes.
Love it. I absolutely love it. And I have, honestly, guys, I don't only have hope for everyone that's listening, everyone in our chat room, but I have faith that if I can say the words that I feel are from the heart of God for you, I believe that those words will ignite something in you and open up your understanding. I believe that. I can't do that. I can't do that. Something else, some other entity has to do that. You have to take action, not me. I can't come there. I can't come and say, you say, oh, Carin, I don't know how to do this. Can you come? I can't do that. Maybe once in a while, but really, I can't do that. I want to train you. I want to push you to be more than you are today. There is greatness in all of you, because your greatness comes out of the skills that you carry. Your greatness can't be compared to Benny or Elon Musk or Trump or your neighbor or your boss. Forget that. Who are you? What are you carrying? What are you carrying? It's not about big people. It's about quality. What is it that you are carrying that needs to be developed, and the skills that need to be developed for it? Stephanie. SJF 64.
Hi, Karen. I just want to say God bless you and thank you so much for this. I haven't been able to be um, in the chats. I mean, for a long time, but I just believe that God fixed it where I could be on tonight to hear you. What you're saying is so in line with what I've been praying for. I've been consecrating now since last Monday and seeking God and asking Him to send the right people. and to help me to learn what I need to learn, and looking at the things that I want to do and asking God to give me the wisdom. And so what you're saying just totally lines up with what I've been praying. And I believe that God is answering. I just thank Him for you. And I think I told you long time ago that God sent you to be with Benny. And as it turns out, it's true. So I thank God for you. I really do. And I'm just asking God to continue to bless you and give you wisdom and to bless what you put your hands to. In Jesus' name, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
That's very kind. You know, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you a secret. And it's a saying, it's a scripture, but it's a saying. And it says, "But by the grace of God go I." And honestly, I'm not anything special. I am just a person, like Benny was just a person who has had the opportunity to learn and grow in many areas. I have the opportunity, sometimes through education. I was educated. I went to university to study theology for 4 years and got my Bachelor of Theology. I was studying to be a psychometrist, which is another thing, in another university. And then I actually am, you're going to laugh, I'm a clothing designer. And I have awards for my clothing. I was presented by award by the mayor of Toronto years and years ago for my designs. And I studied. I went to college for design, and graduated from college for that. So I've had some experiences and I've had some success, but I've learned something. In all the success you can have, in all the experiences you can have, you can still feel like you know nothing. And honestly, sometimes I feel like I know nothing. And I remember asking our Lord, I said, "Lord, I don't know anything about," like I would hear people talk about the economy and, the government. And honestly, didn't know anything. My whole life was in art and design and building and hands-on and, you know, business. I grew up in business with my mom. My mom had a very successful business, so I grew up in business. And really, I felt like I knew nothing. And all I can say is I, as you will be positioned. You're positioned here, first of all. You've been positioned in this chat room. Honestly, you have. Don't doubt it. And not everything I'm going to be saying is relevant for you, but take any golden nuggets that myself or in the past Ben. I mean, I learned so much from Ben. Ben used to yell at me for being quiet. And then one day he said to me, "I figured out what you're doing." And I'm thinking, okay, what am I doing? He goes, "You're listening." I go, "Yes, Ben. I'm theology. I'm art. I'm not banker. I'm not economy. I don't know how the economy works. I don't know the terms. I don't know anything. So I'm absorbing knowledge from you." And he said, he didn't know that. He thought I should just be, I don't know, like he was. And I wasn't. I said, "Ben, I haven't been a banker for 25 years, but do you know the scriptures? You don't know the scriptures. Like, I've studied the Bible. I've studied the languages, the original languages. I can see where you're stumbling. I let him stumble as a new believer. Just let him stumble, because that's part of growth. Sometimes you have to stumble yourself around. And so it's by the grace of God go I. So I'm just doing what comes to me, and I'm trying to, the best of my ability, put it into you to push you in the right direction. And to give you, what can I say? Kind of like a reality check of what's ahead. Not so that you can fear it, but so that you can embrace it. You need to embrace your sorrows. You're going to experience loss. You have to embrace your loss sometime. Whether it's loss of a friend, whether it's your family that turns against you, whether it's loss of some money, sometimes you are going to have to embrace loss. And instead of hanging on to it and let it pulling you down, you have to persevere. That's why vision is so important. Without vision, you're going to perish. You need a progressive vision. You need to have some idea of where you're going. That vision can change, it can grow, it can expand, and it will, and because you're learning as you're going. But you need to make the steps to go forward and be bold in them. And be willing to be a fool, be willing to have some loss, be willing to be told off, be willing to be once in a while backstabbed. I mean, I've been backstabbed so much, it's just, my back has so many bruises on it, but it's okay. It's okay. It doesn't define me. Someone else's opinion of me does not define me. It does not define you. If somebody says you're stupid or you can't, don't let it define you. That's not, it's first of all, it's a lie. None of you, not one of you is stupid. You may not, I may feel stupid in a certain area because I don't have that knowledge. That doesn't make me stupid. It makes me not understand that knowledge. Like, I look at, the algorithms and the blockchain. I'm trying to figure out exactly how it works. It's like so profound to me that somebody figured this out, these mathematicians. And I can't even understand, like, I don't, forget it. I don't understand it at all, right? I don't understand Bitcoin mining, that how, it goes through a computer. I just, like, it blows my mind. It's incredible. But I would never be the inventor of it. I'm not smart enough. I don't have the education. That's okay. It doesn't make me stupid. It just makes me not understand that area. Find who you are. Expand your knowledge. Absolutely. And sometimes you're going to be taken into, like I was, a whole new area of economics, and you have to grow and you have to spend the time. 6 years of painstaking being told off and being told by my boss, my creator, to shut up and be quiet and listen and take the buffing, because he was forming something in me. He was forming a greater toughness, a less offensive person. A lot of people left the platform because of the swearing. And trust me, do you think it wasn't hard for me? Oh my gosh, seriously. It was hard, very, very hard. And I would, cry out to God, my God, and say, Lord, are you sure this is you? Like, oh my gosh. And the Lord started to show me the heart and the life of the person. And the judgment and the criticism left. And the heart came through. And I know many of you experienced the same thing. Of course, some of you guys just love the toughness, and good for you. Men are like that. That's great. But us women, we're not really much into the toughness. And not that I want a man to be a wimp, don't get me wrong, but I do, I said to Ben, listen, Ben, when I went to his home to take care of him, and he was bedridden, people, he wasn't mobile. And, so I was doing different things and helping him out and sorting things out because he, couldn't take care of anything in the apartment. And I said, Ben, listen to me. I'm silver spoon. I was brought up with a silver spoon, not a gold spoon, but a silver spoon. And what does that mean? I was an upper middle class child, had everything I wanted, worked hard, went to school, was given a good work ethic. I wasn't I guess I was pretty spoiled, but not in a, I'll give you anything you want any day way, but just in words and deeds. And he looked at me so funny. He said, I think we need a plumber. Oh my gosh, because I was dealing with a problem in the washroom, right? And he said, I think we need a plumber. I said, I can get a plumber, don't worry about it. So I went and got a plumber. But, we're all different. And we all see things differently. And so the people around you are going to see, if they're not going to all accept you. Get over it, people. You have to get over it. Sometimes the best friend, look who's around you now. Look who's around you, the person on the left and the person on the right. And you have to say this to yourself. That person may not be part of my life after the wealth transfer. You need to say that. It's a reality. I don't know if they will or not, but I'm telling you, there is a 75 to 80% chance that they will not be part of your life. When I had every success that I had, every success, like when I won awards for my designs, the students in my college turned against me. Why her? That's what they literally would say. I worked hard for everything I've designed, and my designs are just as good. Why did she win? Why is she It was bad. I couldn't believe it. I was shocked, to be honest with you. Every success, when I bought my business, every success I've had, I have lost friends. And I've had to, even when I went to university, one of my very best friends said, that university you're going to never turns out anybody worthwhile. That's what she said to me. And she said, if I go to university, I'm going to this university. And she named the university. And I looked at her and I said, I hope you do. I hope you go there. And I hope you become successful. And I hope you, everything that you want. But she was jealous. And so that jealousy caused her to put me down and try to, destroy my vision, really. I don't know if she understood it. But it was really heartbreaking. But I knew that she was not going to be part of my life. She couldn't come with me. She couldn't rejoice with me. She couldn't be happy that I was following, that the doors were open for me, that the provision came, that I was studying, and that I was moving towards my goals. She couldn't rejoice with me. And that is going to happen to you. And eventually she floated away. She did go to university. She lasted 2 months and they actually expelled her. And then she ended up in another country in a very bad situation. And I was sad for her. I was very sad for her. But I don't have the ability to make their choices, to make their opinions. And you have to understand that sometimes you just have to let people go and let God deal with them, his loving way. And he will. I'm not talking about judgment. I'm talking about correction, love, and direction. Remember, correction is out of love. It's not out of condemnation. If you're being corrected, that is a good thing. If I get corrected, it is a good thing, people, because none of us is perfect. Anybody else? I think I'll end there. I've lectured you enough. Honestly, I feel bad, but
No,
I'm
it's
trying.
good lecturing.
I'm trying.
Great show.
I'm trying to align you really, because I know what's coming. I feel it. I can feel it. And the closer we get, I really, really want you to succeed. I'm going to ask TB. TB can speak. To be and not to be. There you go.
All right. You know, one thing that comes to mind um, as we embark upon this new journey, right? You said the roller coaster is about to go a little bit faster. Um, you know, Benny always said that we need to trust no one. And even the Bible says, trust no man, right? Only trust God.
Yeah.
But at some point, we're going to have to build our financial team. Those of us who haven't received our kingdom spouses, we're going to have to vet them, right? To
Yep.
make sure that they're for us and not for the money. And so, and at the same time, our discernment's going to have to be sharp enough to where we're able to let in our destiny helpers, right? And kind of keep at bay or arm's length the vultures, so to speak. Because
Absolutely.
I do already feel at pray. My church is very prophetic. Everyone there are prophets and seers, deep seers. And they know that this wealth is coming to me already. And it's an awkward feeling walking into the room each Sunday. Um, and I don't know. It's just there's a weight to it, Carin, that we're gonna have to carry, and it's like you said, it's not gonna be comfortable. It's I think all of us are in the adrenaline and the excitement, but there's a backside to it, and I thank you for bringing that to the forefront today, just so we can really have a well-rounded expectation of what we're really walking into the fullness therein. So I
One of the
thank
things
you.
that is so, thank you so much for bringing that up, because one of the things, something happened to me when I first realized, the wealth that was coming. And, I showed people in one of the things I showed you, like the vision I had. And, I did all the charts and the money stuff and budgets and everything. And people are attracted to that. So I surrounded myself with a few people that I trusted and loved, and had skills. They have skills, trust me. But I realized something. This is what I realized. So much as I cared for the people, and they even had skills that I could use, they have their own agenda. And one of my friends said to me, like, we talk for hours and think and plan for hours. And I realized that this person is really, I can't work with that person. And why? This sounds absolutely crazy. Because they were at a level where they could not carry my vision. They wanted their own vision. So I have a choice. I can't bring them into my vision because in my vision, they're going to constantly be trying to form their own vision. And after about a year of just sitting with them and loving them, talking to them, talking business, talking vision and everything, they said something to me that kind of opened my eyes. And then they said this: I will come and work with you if you make me the chief executive officer, meaning if you give me control of your company.
That's when you ran in the other direction.
Oh my gosh, seriously. And now they have the skills to do that. Don't get me wrong. It's not like they don't know what they're saying and don't know what they're doing, but I saw that they had an agenda, and it wasn't to destroy me. Don't get me wrong. But the agenda was to build their own vision. And if their vision fitted with my vision in some way, that was good enough for them. But they weren't willing to take my vision and run with it. They were. I realized that they were going to start with my vision and shift it into their vision. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, they're not bad people. They're good people. But it's not what I want. I need to surround myself with people that will run with my vision and not, if they have their own vision, that's great. They need to go and run with that vision. They need to go and do it. They can do it. If they have the ability, they can do it. But there are people who will catch your vision, catch what you're doing, respect what you're doing. And I'm not even saying they don't respect me, but honestly, deep down, I think there is a level of non-respect, that they think they can do it better, and they want to fit into what I'm doing because of the money, because I have the finances. In fact, for a person like that, I would say to them this is what I'm going to do, but I haven't said that. I don't want to open up the wormhole yet. But write down your vision. I'm going to say, write down your vision. Let me know what your vision is, and I will assess it and see whether I will invest into your vision and let them run with their vision. But, bringing them in to work with me, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. It will destroy our friendship. It will destroy everything. And it will end up being a division and rather than a blessing. So there's a lot of lessons to learn. We're learning from each other. Do I know everything? No, I learned from experience, right? Like I've had great success and I've had great losses. And so in all of that, you learn one thing. The one thing I've learned is, for me and my house, the success I have only comes from our Lord. He guides me. He opens and closes the door. He gives me the red flags, the green lights, the tools, the skills. He gives me whatever it is I need to succeed. And he said something to me the other day, and this is what he said. I should read it to you. See if I can find it here. Hang on. I was just reading it this morning. Hang on. Let me see if I can find it quickly. I think it's in this book. Maybe not. Sorry, I write everything down because I forget, and that's one of the things that I've been need to teach you to do. You need to be diligent, even in your ideas. Like, anyway, I can't find it, but he said this. He said, Carin, because in my head, I was thinking of how imperfect I am. Like, I don't do perfect shows. I don't always say the perfect things. And, I don't perform perfectly, whatever it might be, right? And he said to me, Carin, none of my people are perfect. None of my apostles were perfect. None of my prophets were perfect. None of my people are perfect. There's no perfect person in the chat rooms. There's no perfect person. You're not perfect. I work with imperfect people. And he said, I don't expect them to be perfect. In other words, we're going to make some mistakes. It's okay. It's like minimize them as much as possible. We're going to run ahead of them. We're going to, hire the wrong person sometimes. We're going to have to fire someone and we're going to be sad about it, whatever. We're going to do things that will maybe be a stumbling block. But the point is to put ourselves back on the right path as quickly as possible and to try to correct any mistakes and let him correct the mistakes and suffer the loss and move forward and rebuild or refocus or go in a different direction. And, it made me, I felt like saying, Lord, yeah, like in the Bible, King David, he was not perfect. He made so many mistakes, and yet God still blessed his kingdom and his line and his legacy. And so God's not looking for perfect people. He's looking for willing people. He's looking for people that are willing to grow and change and follow his lead, listen to him. The closer you get to him, the easier it is. I'm going to tell you right now. But even if you don't know him, he's still guiding you. He's still guiding you. Honestly, sometimes I've seen a non-Christian or a non-believer do greater things than a believer. Why? Because they trust the journey and they grab hold of the principles of the journey. And then the Creator will guide them because his plan must be fulfilled. And he will use any vessel. In the Bible, he used a donkey to give a warning. A donkey verbally talked in order to stop someone from going up a path. Like, wow. So let's not limit, but let's not be fools. Louis. Whoops, hang on. I don't know why it does that. Yes, sir.
Well, God got us this far because He has a purpose and He has a plan for us. He's been preparing me for a long time, and I have been changing a lot. And He's saying you and Benny, so we could be prepared for anything that is coming. He be walking with us. That's something that that's what we hear in this chat because He has a plan for us.
Yeah, he does. And it's not just about me and Benny. You're going to learn from a lot of different people. Yeah, you're going to learn. Like I watch some of the big players too, and some of the moves they're making. It's very interesting because we can learn. We can learn from them. Like I was, looking at the movements of some of the whales, and I thought, Carin, don't be so stupid. They're moving to make money. They're making strategic moves, which sometimes I'm just honestly too lazy to do. I'm just too busy. I'm too lazy, and it's like, I just don't want to spend time doing that. But that's not necessarily a good thing. That's something that I've got to work on. And a lot of us could have a lot more money if we were a little bit wiser, even with the cryptocurrencies. But it is what it is. And again, we're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes and we're going to have losses. Now, before I go, I want to talk about, I opened up a new channel called Dreams and Visions. And why did I do that? Well, somebody said, you have a lot of different chat rooms. You don't have to be in all of them, of course. But there's so many dreams coming to us right now, I thought it would be a good place to post whatever you feel important. Don't worry about if it's from God or not from God. Do your very best. I posted this one from Wendy just so that we can remember. This one, I listened to the person. I wasn't particularly impressed by the person, so I didn't bother listening to the rest. But I love this. The era of exposure and exchanges. So sometimes it's just, it's not what's in the content. It's just, the title given by inspiration, right? And then I went back. Now, for instance, here, Wendy sent me an update, and she said, and listen to this. I love this. I don't know Wendy very well, but slowly getting to know her a little bit. Sorry. She said, I've had so much going on. In other words, she was very busy, but today I finally got to listen to all of the convergence, and that's where I shared her dream, right? She said, I'm still praying about it, and meaning about the interpretation, and I agree with you on it. There's much to glean from. And she had the dream about Benny and her were going somewhere, and they met a wealthy man, and Benny took out a copper coin and showed it to the man. In fact, I think he gave it to the man. Anyway, I don't want to get into the dream, and then on it, Ben wrote 7551, and we've been trying to figure that out. But I listened to my dream again. So listen what she does. I record every dream on the mornings I have them. So for me, I write everything down, and then usually I retype it, but I stopped doing that because they were in my computer and I didn't want them to know my private stuff. So she's diligent enough to record it. So she said she went back and listened to the recording, and she said, I forgot a detail to share. And the detail is this: the wealthy man lost the coin. Interesting, eh? That's why, because remember in the dream, Ben told him to research it, to check it out. She said, that's why I was looking through the coins trying to find it. So she wasn't looking what the coin was. She was looking, trying to find the coin that the wealthy person lost. And then she said, I did start looking through another pile of coins, but then I got convicted, meaning because the coins I was looking through were not mine, so I stopped. And then she woke up. So very, very interesting. But the point is, and I'm not going to interpret this, but the point is she was diligent enough to take seriously the dream, even though she wasn't too sure. Like when she contacted me, like, is this from God? She said, do you think this is God? I said, yes, I do. And he's trying to show you something, right? So what I'm saying is be diligent in what God has given you, whatever it is. Whatever hammer is in your hand, maybe you have a hammer of dreams and visions. They will help you. Do you know, whenever I transition, a large transition, like for instance, when I transitioned, sold my home, put my things in storage, and then slowly transitioned over to Cambodia, every time I made a strategic move towards that country, I had a dream from God. Every time I was led, just like Joseph was led when he was with Mary and baby Jesus, I was led totally by dreams. In fact, I was given one huge dream at the very beginning, and I saw a pathway in the dream so clear, and I was walking on this pathway, and it was very wide, and it had lots of shops, lots of different beautiful shops on both sides, and it was like cobblestone, but not rough, very nicely like well laid, and like kind of bricks, but more like cobblestones. It's hard to explain. I can still see it clearly. It was so clear. And I'm walking down this, and then I was taken to a shop that was in a different language, and I thought it was either, I didn't know if it was Thailand or Cambodia or what it was, but I knew it was Asian. And then I went to the shop, and there were all these beautiful miniature cakes, and they were like all little wedding cakes, and they were small, maybe 4-5 inches high, and somebody told me they actually exist. And I saw them, and I knew what it was. It was the children that I would be rescuing. But in the dream, this is the key thing. The person that was kind of with me in the dream told me that this was a small stop. This was not the final stop. This was a small, short stop, and it turned out to be a 2-year stop. He said, there's a bigger stage ahead. And then he took me down this pathway. And when I got to the end of the pathway, I was in this gigantic building. I can't explain it. It was huge. It was like a stadium, right? And they were working diligently to get this. I kept hearing the word stage. The stage will be set. The stage will be set. And the lighting was going on. And every worker in there I recognized. But when you recognize a person, it's not because the person is part of the dream. It's because their name means something. So, for instance, there was a Keith there. There was I forget. I have it all written down. But each name, I researched each name, and each name meant something that was being established in the dream. And I saw kind of people being removed. I saw conflict. But I saw this stage. It's like this stage is being set. And I think right now, this is the stage. We're in, like when I say a stage, like of course I actually saw like a stage, like Trump would get up on the stage and speak to the people. But it's more than just that. It's a new era. It's a new beginning. Everything is new. The lights are on this transition, this shift. And I realize now that it took all these years, and for me, it's what? I think I left for Cambodia in 2008. So it's been quite a few years since that stage is a reality to me. And now we're on the stage, guys. We're on this stage, and the lights and the cameras and everything is taking place. And it is phenomenal what is taking place. Phenomenal. Many people will look back at this era and remember it. This is not just another year or another time, but this is a shift, a global shift. Even prophets, like Ben was saying, the prophets aren't prophesying, about the extraterrestrials or about this or about that. I said, but you know what? They're talking about a new era. They were prophesying it for years, starting like 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago, about a new era. We're entering into a new era, a new paradigm. They would prophesy that over and over again. We're in that. We're in the shift. We're in the crossing over. It just takes time. So don't be discouraged. It's going to come together. It's going to be all that it's meant to be. And if you have the perseverance And I would say don't be part of the generation of the offended. Just persevere. Persevere in who you are. Know who you are the best you can. And if you don't know who you are, ask, who am I? Who am I? Ask. Ask. Don't ask me. Don't ask your wife. Don't ask your husband or your best friend. Ask the Creator, who am I? And I guarantee you, He will reveal to you the very uniqueness that you were created with. He wants you to be you. If you're not a leader of thousands, don't try to be. If you're not a leader of millions, don't try to be. If you're not a person who's meant to have a corporation or, something like Elon Musk is building, don't try to be. Be who you are and let that grow, and it will expand, and you will become a little more educated, and you will grow, and you will grow, and you will change, and you may even go down some new pathways. One day I'll explain to you, I'm just trying to think, I might be able to bring her on the show. I have a friend who's very influential in Canada. And, God told her that He was going to put her in front of government officials, high-level government officials. And honestly, she was like, she knew nothing about government. I don't even think she knew that we had a prime minister. Like, she knew nothing. She wasn't stupid, but her education and her knowledge was just in a different area. And she said to me, Carin, honestly, they told me that they started talking to me about the Senate. And she said, I thought it was a hockey team because her father's a famous hockey player. And she said, honestly, I thought they were talking about hockey. I didn't know they were talking about politics. But God will place you sometimes in places like He did with me when you have no clue of what they're talking about. But you learn and grow, and you're pushed into it. You're pushed into it. But it takes time, people. It's not like it happens in a month or a year, but you absorb knowledge, and you are absorbing knowledge right now. Every time you listen to a video, every time you listen to a YouTube teaching or whatever, you're absorbing knowledge. Force yourself. That's why I said to listen to that $1 trillion movie, because in there it's full of knowledge, full of it, full of how they manipulate the markets and full of their strategies. And you actually see the old elite and the new elite fighting, and it's just, it's so clear to me. And it's only clear to me because I listened to my mentor over the last 6 years, who opened my understanding, even though sometimes I didn't have a clue what he was talking about. And then now when I watch it, I can see it. And it's being clarified to me. I'm seeing it clearer and clearer, and I'm going, oh my Lord, wow. Wow, that's all I can say. So we're on this awesome journey together. Awesome journey. This is awesome, people. We're going to do some great things. We're going to not be perfect. We're not going to do everything the way we always wanted to do it. We're going to have some losses. Some people are going to hurt us. Some people are going to leave us, but it's still an awesome, amazing journey. So I'm going to close there. I want to bless you. I want to thank you for listening. Let's continue the journey with a fortitude and an assurity that we're going to make a difference with the tool that we are being given for mankind. God bless you. God keep you. And I'll see you later this week.